1960 arrived like a sunrise after a very long night. For many years, the people had lived under heavy silence and control. Now that silence broke. Nigeria was free. The news spread fast, carried by voices, drums, and running feet. In Ikot Akpan Essien, the air itself seemed lighter. Faces lifted upward, smiles appeared where worry once lived. Drums beat from early morning. The sound rolled through the village like thunder, deep and proud. Men struck the drums with open palms, their shoulders moving with each beat. Sweat ran down their faces, but they did not stop. Their eyes shone with joy. Women waved cloths in the air, their hands raised high. Flags moved from side to side, catching the sunlight. Palm wine flowed freely. Calabashes passed from hand to hand. People drank and laughed, their mouths open wide, their teeth showing. The youth of Ikot Akpan Essien marched proudly through the village pass. Their backs were straight, their chests pushed forward, their feet hit the ground in strong rhythm. Each step carried hope. Some raised their fists in the air, others sang loudly, their voices cracking with excitement. Their faces showed belief in tomorrow. A new spirit entered the land. It settled quietly into hearts and minds. People began to think differently. They stood taller. They spoke with confidence. They looked ahead, not just at today, but at the years to come. Families began to build new homes. Zinc roofs replaced old thatch. The sound of hammer on metal filled the air. Men wiped sweat from their brows and smiled at their work. Women stood nearby, hands on their hips, nodding with approval. Children ran around, touching the shiny roofs, laughing at their reflections. Farmers did not work alone anymore. They came together. They formed cooperatives. They met under trees, sitting on benches, talking seriously. Some leaned forward, some scratched their beards. They agreed to sell palm oil together in bulk. This way they earned more. Their faces showed pride. Their voices carried confidence. Traders traveled farther than before. Early in the morning, they tied goods tightly and balanced loads carefully. They walked or rode to markets in Abak, Ikot Ekpani, and Uyo. Dust covered their feet. Sun burned their skin. Yet their eyes stayed sharp. Their posture stayed strong. They returned with stories, money, and new ideas. The elders did not sit back. They formed the Ikot Akpan Essien Development Union, IAEDU. Meetings were held often. Elders sat in a circle, their backs straight, hands resting on knees. Their faces were serious. They spoke slowly, choosing words with care. They planned for education, farming, and the welfare of everyone. When decisions were made, they nodded together in agreement. From this growing hope rose new stars. One of them was Anwana Udo Essien. As a boy, he was quiet but curious. His eyes followed everything. When others played, he watched. When elders spoke, he listened closely. Books never left his hands. His brow often stayed tight with focus. Teachers noticed him. When the scholarship came, the whole village gathered. Anwana left for Entugu to study engineering. On the day he left, his mother held his face with both hands. Her eyes were wet, but she smiled. His father placed a firm hand on his shoulder, pride clear in his posture. Anwana walked away slowly, turning back many times, waving. Years later, he returned. He came back taller, broader, with confident steps. His face showed purpose. He did not come back to boast. He came back to work. He walked the land studying it. He pointed, explained, and planned. Soon the first water system was built. Hand-pump wells rose across the community. Women no longer walked long distances to streams. Children no longer carried heavy water pots on their heads. Now they gathered around pumps. Hands pulled handles up and down. Water flowed. Laughter followed. Women smiled widely, relief clear on their faces. Children splashed water and clapped. Anwana stood nearby, hands behind his back, nodding quietly. Another strong symbol of progress stood tall. Her name was Madame Ekiet Ekenem. She was fearless. Her back stayed straight when others doubted her. Her eyes never dropped. In a time when women were expected to stay small, she stood large. She entered trading boldly. She owned palm oil drums, then trucks. She supervised loading herself, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Men listened when she spoke. When her trucks rolled through the village, dust rising behind them, women stopped to watch. Some smiled, some whispered in wonder. Madame Maquette often stood beside her trucks, hands on her waist, face calm and firm. Her success spoke louder than words. Many women followed her path. Confidence grew in their steps. But independence was not only joy. Slowly, shadows returned. Politics entered the village like a slow storm. Rivalries grew. Voices became loud. Faces tightened. Elections caused division. Youth groups formed sides. Fists clenched. Meetings ended in shouting. Families argued at home. Brothers avoided each other. Elders frowned more often. The unity that once held the people together began to crack. Then came the war. The civil war did not reach Ikot Akpan Essien with bombs, but its presence was felt deeply. Food became scarce. Fear moved quietly. People spoke in low voices. Nights felt longer. Faces showed worry. Eyes stayed alert. Refugees arrived from nearby towns. They came tired, dusty, and broken. The people of Ikot Akpan Essien opened their homes. Doors opened wide. Mats were spread. Food was shared. Faces showed concern and kindness. Among those who arrived was a pregnant woman named Ngozi. She came alone. Her steps were weak. Her shoulders slumped. Her eyes looked empty. Her hands trembled. An elderly widow, Mama Ino, saw her and did not hesitate. Mama Ino's face softened. She guided Ngozi inside, one hand steady on her back. Mama Ino cared for her patiently. She cooked. She washed her clothes. She sat beside her at night. Her old hands moved gently. Her face showed quiet strength. Slowly, Ngozi's color returned. Her breathing eased. Her eyes regained light. When labor came, Mama Ino stayed close. Sweat ran down Ngozi's face. Her mouth opened in pain. Mama Ino held her hand firmly, whispering encouragement. When the baby cried, relief filled the room. Tears rolled down Ngozi's cheeks. She smiled weakly. She named the child Chijioke Ino. It was her way of honoring the woman who saved her. Mama Ino held the baby with shaking hands. Her lips trembled. Her eyes filled with tears. She nodded silently. This single act of kindness spread through the community like quiet fire. When the war finally ended, the land breathed again. Ikot Akpan Essien stood wounded but alive. Some houses were damaged. Some hearts were heavy, yet people did not fall. They rebuilt. Hands worked together again. Walls rose. Paths cleared. Laughter slowly returned. Faces showed scars, but also strength. The community moved forward once more, rooted in compassion, strengthened by resilience, and guided by the memory of all they had endured. The sunrise had returned.